automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
And how did I get here? I don't know. It's not Big Rick. It's Medium Butch, I think. Maybe that's my moniker. I don't know. I keep saying I for years bought medium T-shirts, and my wife finally said, you know what? Just face up to the fact you're small. You're fine small. It's okay. She likes them compact, so I'm glad. Okay. Regardless, I am Butch Maxwell. I'm glad to be here, just sitting in for 1 hour with Rick here on the afternoon. I was telling Lola, hey, Lola, how you doing?
I am doing well.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
I've been. It was exactly a month to the day that I was here last, and I'm just glad to come in.
Time just goes by so quickly. I forgot it had been a month.
Yeah. It's so, but
I
it's
remember
good.
now.
Yeah. And we had Eric and
Yes,
we
and
had,
Greg.
and Greg in.
Yep.
And played some music during
did.
the 4 o'clock hour, which I will do if I come in on 2 o'clock on sometime. I'll bring some musicians in, but heck, I want to talk here. So
right.
I've got a number of things I want to talk
Therapy
about.
session is open.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lola. My name is Butch Maxwell, and I am a newsaholic. And actually, I have not been watching the news like I have been. I've been actually trying to do things like catch up on, Netflix series and things like that. Going out, I went out to a play last week. Went to see, I mentioned this on Bill's show earlier today, but I went to see All in the Timing at Towngate Theater, and it was a lovely evening. It was very nice. Wasn't too crowded, but there were enough people in there that I felt like I was sharing an experience with people, and it was very funny. I highly recommend All in the Timing, playing tonight and tomorrow night at Towngate Theater.
Where'd you go to dinner?
We went to Later Gator, and, right across the street.
I have not been there in so long.
Yeah, it's called Later Alligator, but everybody calls it Later Gator.
Later Gator, yeah.
And the food there is fantastic. So and it's all very safe there too. They've got masks on and stuff like that. So, of course, everybody in my party was like, "Hey, we don't care. We all got our shots."
I know it.
We're trying not to gloat too much because I still have a lot of friends who are 30-somethings, and they've not yet got their shots by and large. So,
Don't you feel better?
oh, I do.
I mean, you've had yours for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
I was, the guys, when I went to get my second one, it was like, I am so excited. They're going, whoa, okay.
Hope you don't feel let down by this.
Well, I don't know what you're expecting when you get back there, but.
Did you get a little sick after the second shot or not?
And I'm glad that you had warned me. I took 2 days off of work because I got the shot like at 9 on a Thursday. And by Thursday evening, I mean, I guess I could have made it through work on Thursday.
Yeah.
But you know me, never pass up the opportunity to take a day off.
Sure.
And I was really tired. And then on Saturday, it was exactly what you told me it was going to be. And I took the Tylenol like my friend that is a nurse told me to do.
Yeah.
I had to go out, damn cats, and get cat food on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was...
It wore you out a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a few stairs you had to climb to get in the house, and it was like, I don't think you guys are worth this, but yeah. And then by Sunday, I was good.
It was good.
I was good.
Yeah, it passes quickly, so please nobody be afraid to get that vaccine. It's good, and as I've said on this air several times, it's your civic duty,
Yes, it is.
It's your responsibility to the rest of the community to get your inoculation, and everyone should. So please do. That's good. Right now it's like 57 degrees outside. It's kind of like not a really pleasant day, is it? But I guess it's going to be nice tomorrow. 72 and sunny, and that's what we're looking forward to. And Lola and I are both off tomorrow, right? So,
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
So it's good. Bigger chance of rain on Sunday, but hey, we'll take the sun on Saturday. And after all, it's almost April, and those April showers are coming.
As long as it's warm. It can rain.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it's warm.
Yeah, that's
coldness
too.
is yucky.
So today on the show, I know we're coming up on a break, so I don't want to get into something that's going to be very long, and I do want to talk a little bit about both the president's press conference and also the what's going on in Georgia. But here's something I thought was interesting: is that right now, if you want to try to rent a car, good luck, buddy. Because
why?
Yeah, because people are renting them like crazy. The demand is up so high, and so what has happened is the prices have gone up a lot too. Oh. This is a lot because people don't want to fly. So $300 a day is in some places. Last weekend in Florida, 18 of the state's 20 largest airports were totally out of cars. You could not even rent a car for any price there. So, it's kind of ridiculous because you could rent an SUV in Hawaii for the price of a cup of coffee and a bagel about a year ago, but now you're just going to pay a whole lot. So think about that. If your travel tips, what the CDC says is, first of all, consider not traveling. For almost no money and no risk, you can sip your pina coladas in a kiddie pool in the backyard. Yeah, I know, that's not very exciting to most of us. And second, if you are going to travel, keep your mask on and book your car rental early. For example, if you're going to Hawaii in October, you should consider booking your car in, say, 2018. Good luck with that. So it's tough. So I'm just alerting you that we are coming up on the time of the season where we might begin to think about vacation and where we might want to go. I know my wife and I have been talking about it a lot because we haven't been anywhere. But consider that too. So that's one little tidbit I wanted to share with you before we go to our first break, and we'll come right back. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about Jessica Walter, an actor who just passed away. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Watchdog.
What is Real Big Talk? Well, it's an honest conversation that you can be a part of no matter which way you lean. I'm Big Rick, your host of Real Big Talk, and I invite you to join me, Lola, and the rest of this community to discuss our world and the events that unfold daily. Be a part of the conversation at 304-214-1600. Real Big Talk, weekdays 2 to 5 on The Watchdog.
Update your home's exterior with new siding and get 11% off everything at Menards. Timbercrest Premium Double 4-inch Vinyl Siding is engineered to be durable, 15% thicker, and has the look of natural cedar siding. It has a limited lifetime warranty and is available in 9 colors. $679 per 12.5-foot piece after 11% off. Good through March 27th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, Toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
And that's how I learned French. Voulez-vous coucher? Lola, earlier you were telling me about this. There's some news about this song.
Right. First of all, it was the first song ever to really talk about streetwalkers.
Oh, okay.
And that was a big deal back in those days, too.
Sure.
And it was just entered into the Library of Congress's music songs
fantastic.
thing.
Yeah.
So
that would be the original La Belle Patio.
Yes,
La Belle. I think it was just La Belle.
and they looked so good. They were interviewed the other day. They really looked, but boy, I remember, I mean, that was my clubbing days.
Yes.
You know, and it was like,
awesome. And some, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, it was revived by Pink and some other.
Lady Gaga, I think, is in it.
Maybe Lady Gaga. Yeah. So, and that was a good version too. It was, it was all good. So I think they added a little rap in it to sort of make it more contemporary. But very cool.
Yep.
I love that song. Great song. Jessica Walter, who was an older actor, a female who was in Arrested Development. Most people would know her from that, or from the Archer TV series. She passed away yesterday in her sleep. She was 80 years old. Loved her. She was hilarious. She sort of played this. Now, I didn't really watch Archer, but Arrested Development is just absolutely one of my all-time favorite situation comedy shows. Maybe particularly because it doesn't insult me with a laugh track to tell me where to laugh. And it was just a wild, wild show. It only lasted 3 years on ABC television, but it was picked up by Netflix, and it's become a cult favorite on Netflix. And in fact, Netflix went ahead and then greenlighted them for 2 additional seasons, which they did. So there are 5 seasons that are available on Netflix. And Walter's character was the mother, and she was this boozy, just nasty-tempered, wonderful, wonderful character. Just, I mean, everybody on the show, except for the protagonist, Michael, were quirky in some ways. But her character of Lilith Bluth was just amazing, and there would be nobody that I think could think of that could have done that role better than her, better than she, I should say. So Jessica Walter, tribute to you. All right, well, I did want to talk also about what's going on in Georgia, because actually there's a parallel right here in West Virginia. I think we're having a similar legislation by one party in particular that appears to be is definitely putting more restrictions on voting. And in Georgia, this has gotten a lot of attention, especially because, first of all, the laws are among the most draconian that have been suggested, and they've passed by the Republican legislature. And they seem to be, they seem to be designed to hold back the black vote and suppress that. There are, and as you know, you may remember that Georgia was a lot of for the former president's in his focus. He called up the Secretary of State several times and tried to influence the Secretary of State to find some more votes for him, and he gave him the exact number he needed in order to overturn the election. So now and he put pressure on the governor too. Well, this governor, Brian Kemp, he signed the legislation into law, And he did it privately, and one of the Democrat state legislators was banging on his door. She was arrested for disorderly conduct or something, but she was just really trying to make a point of this, that the governor didn't even sign it publicly. He signs everything publicly, and this one he's just going to sign it on the sly because the contention is that it's a racist, repressive, regressive law. To get into some of the particulars of it, there are a lot of different aspects of this, and they beat it around a lot, like where we allow Sunday voting or not, because the black people like to vote after they go to church on Sunday. That's the contention. This is not Butch Maxwell talking. I'm just saying that this is the contention. I think that went back in, but one of the most incredible parts of this law is that it's a misdemeanor crime for anybody to offer food and water to voters who are stuck in long lines to cast ballots.
Yeah, you can't walk around and hand out water to people that are in 90-degree heat.
Yeah.
Standing there.
Just incredible.
So let's think of a way around that. I've already thought of it.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
what are we going to do?
hold my place in line. Have somebody across the street that has water.
Yeah.
And you run over and you grab 6 waters,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can't give them to anybody else because that'd be a misdemeanor. And you could be pulled out of line.
What if they fall on the ground and they roll? I mean, there's got to be a way.
Yeah.
That's just,
it is.
It's a health hazard.
It is. It's crazy. It's just, and it does not, I think that these sorts of laws are probably going to be struck down in court. But probably also the other way that we could see a change is at the federal level, because the House is has put forth legislation that would sort of standardize a lot of voting practices all over the country, so that no state could say that you are not allowed to do mail-in balloting. In fact, it's encouraged that you can mail in your vote if you want. I don't know that you have to do that. My experience with mail-in ballot and mail-in voting was great. I thought I took more time. I considered more carefully who I voted for. I even had time to look something up because I didn't research that race. So I then researched it. It was a judge race, and I just didn't know that much about it. But I made a more informed choice. Why would we not want to encourage more informed, thoughtful voting? It's beyond me.
That is the question of the time.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know I know, but they show this little map of this various states that are now trying to come up with more stringent laws.
Yeah.
And Ohio is not one of them, but I think Colorado is, and Colorado is mail-in voting.
Yes, it's been mail-in voting for a while. Yeah.
So I don't know how they're how they're going to try and change it.
Right.
But yes, I'm dumbfounded by this. And New Hampshire is another one, which is the one that starts out wide and ends up skinny.
That's Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah, Vermont.
They kind of make a block together.
Yeah, New Hampshire and Vermont together. Yeah.
They're not. And then one of the Carolinas, which surprised me.
They're trying to.
No, they're not.
They're not.
One of them isn't.
One of them isn't. Okay.
And what are they doing here? I mean, West Virginia votes Republican.
It does. So why do they need to do this? Well, part of the answer to that is that nationally there are a lot of big lobbyists who put together this legislation. These legislators don't actually write these laws. They don't come up with this language. It's mostly put together by lobbyists. And so big Republican lobbyists or big let's take the party out of it. Let's just say big lobbyists of any ideology will put together legislation and try to get it passed. And what has happened is these Trumpian sort of legislators, these Trumpian kind of, lobbyists have worked their magic with a lot of the state legislatures, and they've been very effective at this. Traditionally, the Republican Party has done a lot better at the state level, working at the state level and sort of the more grassroots than the Democrats do. They have a lot to make up for. So again, I'm in favor of a strong two-party system. I think that's great. I just think the Democrats need to step up a little bit. And I think that regardless, we all should agree on one thing, Republican or Democrat. Voting, having an empowered public, having an empowered citizenry is in our best interest. And here's how we empower our citizenry. We give them the right to vote, and we make it easy for them to be informed. I think that is the best possible scenario for all of us, regardless of our ideology. There are certain things that we should be able to agree upon, but I'm not in Washington or in Charleston, so all I am is medium butch, here right here, sitting in for Big Rick on a Friday afternoon. Let's take our bottom of the hour break, and we'll be back with some other cool stuff. Hang out.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The House of Delegates hasn't yet taken up the bill that would eliminate the state personal income tax over a dozen years. It was on the House's agenda today for a passage vote, but that vote has now been postponed for at least a day. Meanwhile, Governor Jim Justice is having separate meetings this afternoon with both Republicans and Democrats in the state Senate on his plan to reduce the income tax. He wants it sliced by 60% starting next January. Former State Senate President Bill Kolb says he supports Justice's initiative, but he says the governor knows he'll need legislative support.
It's his bill, and he likes his bill his way, but he realizes that he's an important part of the legislative process, but he isn't the only part. I think at the end of the day, there's room between all three to compromise.
Cole was a guest earlier today on Metro News Talkline. Now, the age group that has shown the most COVID-19 cases in West Virginia during the past week is the young adult age group. State coronavirus czar Dr. Clay Marsh says that can't be ignored.
This is a really critical time for us in West Virginia to really start to make ourselves much more resilient against the virus, slow down the spread of the variant, and as we get enough people vaccinated, it will stop the variant from spreading.
Hospitalizations for COVID-19 are at their highest level today than they've been in the past month. Read more from today's briefing at our website. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. President Joe Biden says he's nominating Gail Manchin to be the federal co-chair of the Appalachian Regional Commission if confirmed. The wife of U.S. Senator Joe Manchin would help lead the agency that provides funding and programs to parts of 14 states and more than 400 counties considered to be part of the Appalachian region. A Charleston man's in custody for allegedly setting 2 outdoor fires last weekend. 22-year-old Jerry Allen Burgess allegedly set the fires near Dunbar that burned about 7 acres. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. Maryland women's basketball team is back in action Sunday night. They'll take on the University of Texas in the Sweet 16. Maryland is 26-2 on the season, while the Texas Longhorns are 20-9. The game is set to be played inside the Alamo Dome, and it will be televised Sunday night on ESPN. The winner will advance to play in the Elite Eight on Tuesday. NHL yesterday, the Washington Capitals won for the 8th time in 9 games as they got by the New Jersey Devils 4-3. The two teams will play again tonight. Penguins shut out the Sabres yesterday 4-0 to win for the 3rd time in 4 games. Penguins back in action tomorrow night at home against the Islanders. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLS. ConsumerAccess.org number 33.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLS Consumer Access.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, April 10th and 11th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is just $7 and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or call 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. That's Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, April 10th and 11th.
Let your voice be heard. This is Big Rick, your host of Real Big Talk, weekdays from 2 to 5 on the Watchdog. Just because my name is on the show, that doesn't mean that this show doesn't belong to you too. Lola and I can drive the bus, but you can jump on and join in. Breaking stories, local, statewide, national, and around the world discussed right here on the Watchdog. 304-214-1600. Real Big Talk with me, Big Rick, weekdays from 2 to 5 on the Watchdog.
To let me know, should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine, I'll be here till the end of time. So you got to let me know, should I stay or should I go? It's
love the Clash. Yeah, good stuff. See, Lola just picks out my music for me. I don't tell her what to play, and she always does a great job. Butch Maxwell here, sitting in for Big Rick here for one more half hour. We're going to go straight to the top of the hour right now. You're listening to the Watchdog Afternoon Drive on WKKX and WVLY, 1600 AM, 1370 AM, 97.7 FM, or 98.1 FM, just all over the place. And also Facebook Live. I'm right there right now. And so you might you'll have to look at me, but that's you can just avert your eyes. It's fine. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about President Biden's first news conference. It was yesterday. It was during the Big Rick show, and I know you took some of it, and I think you went to Rick's show. So I'm here to fill you in on what you may have missed. Now, if you've listened to this radio broadcast station for some time, then you probably know that I was not a big fan of the last president, very much. And I took a lot of shots at him, and I tried to be fair about it. But I know one thing that struck me right now was that, I mentioned before too that all politicians lie, or maybe it'd be stretch the truth or something like that. So I think it's only fair to treat President Biden in the same manner. But one thing I came away from was that there weren't really any blatant lies, but there were some distortions. So it's possible that it bears a little bit of context or something to really kind of understand what he did. Now, first of all, the main critique that some of my very good friends say about President Biden in general is that he's a doddering old man. He's senile. He doesn't know what's going on. You kids, get off my lawn. I know. You're frustrated. I get it. If you want to find something to criticize the guy for, he's not your team, and so he's a pretty nice guy. It's hard to just deny that. He's probably pretty bright too, but at least he once was. So maybe now we're going to say, well, he's senile or something. I don't know. Okay. I get it. I understand. You want to criticize him. Just keep in mind that if your man was Donald Trump, he's only 4 years younger than Joe Biden, and so what's good for one might be good for the other too. I don't buy that he's not of sound mind. I think he is. However, he does stutter. And he's been very open about this. And so just because someone has a disability like a stutter doesn't mean that they're cognitively impaired in any way. So let's try to be fair right to begin with. But let's also, in the sense of fairness, look at the things he said that may not be quite exactly right. He talked about the migrant families on the border, and he was defending his approach to migration on the southern border. This has become a big deal because there has been a so-called surge, although some people object to that, and I can understand why, calling a group of people a surge. But that's the word that's been used. Is there have been a whole lot more migrants at the border recently? What accounts for that? Is it because Biden's a nice guy and they think they can get in now that the big bad Trump is gone? Well, the facts don't really bear that out, and the president tried to make that clear. But he's not the best with statistics. There's this thing called Title 42 where people are expelled from the country, so we can keep good records of that. And for the week ending March 17th, there were about 34,000 people at the southwest border that were expelled, which was the lowest percentage of 2021 to date. So about 53% of the people that tried to come in over the border. He has said that he is not sending children back, which is a very good thing. However, you could rightly criticize him for not having facilities that are made for children. Now, he's just been there for 2 months, a little over 2 months now. So maybe we could maybe he needs a little time to do this. But there is that. So that was a little bit misleading. I would not call that a big fat red lie. I just say it was a little bit misleading. He mentioned the filibuster too, and that's also become something that's hotly contested right now because in the Senate, in the House, it's a simple majority to pass any legislation. But in the Senate, there is this rule, and it's not written into the Constitution, folks. There's nothing that our forefathers decided about this or anything that dictates this. It's just the Senate decided its own rules a long time ago that it was going to take 60 votes to pass most legislation. Now that has been, and what happens is if you've only got 59 people or something, then somebody can stand up and filibuster and just talk until they can't talk anymore, and then they can finally vote on it after that senator drops over from exhaustion or whatever. Well, they've changed the filibuster in so many ways, and among the ways they've done it is they've eliminated the requirement to stand up there and talk. So now some of them still do. Usually it's just as a matter of grandstanding. We had one senator who read the Dr. Seuss book, and and it's just nonsense. They don't have to talk on topic or anything. They can read the phone book. It doesn't really matter. But what Biden said yesterday was that he is not in general in favor of breaking the filibuster rule, but there are a lot of Democrats who are, because that would mean they could pass, say, the infrastructure legislation or climate change, which they think Republicans are probably not going to go along with much in climate change. So they could pass some significant legislation without any Republicans because it's 50-50 split, and with Vice President Harris to break the tie, then anything that is not a filibuster eligible vote can be stopped. So anyway, Biden said that between 1917 and 1971, there were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster that whole time, and last year alone there were 5 times as many. It's kind of hard to pick out exactly what's been a filibuster in recent years. But most people say, it wasn't really 5 times, it was maybe twice as many. So it was an exaggeration. So, okay, President Biden, an exaggeration. Not exactly a lie, but an exaggeration. Regarding vaccinations, too. When he was discussing his goal to reach 200 million COVID-19 vaccines in his first 100 days, he repeated his claim that no other country in the world has even come close, not even close to what we were doing on the vaccine front. Now, you've heard the sort of grandiosity from the former president as well. We're absolutely the best. Well, the fact is, yes, we have vaccinated in the United States. We have vaccinated more people than any other country. But that might be a little misleading because per capita, we haven't done as well. Now, we're doing really pretty well even in per capita. But Chile, Israel, and the United Kingdom all kick our butts on that in that per capita ratio. So again, it was just slightly misleading, but in my estimation, you can decide. You might say that was a lie. I don't know. Biden also challenged Republican criticism of the recently passed $1.9 trillion pandemic relief law, which he says will put money in the pockets of ordinary people. I know one thing, I'm pretty ordinary, and it did put money in my pocket. I'll vouch for that. He asked rhetorically whether people had heard Republicans complain about President Donald Trump's $2 trillion tax cuts, which Biden said had 83% going to the top 1%. And that's a figure that other Democrats have repeated often. And, while it's absolutely true that, generally speaking, the wealthiest Americans were the biggest beneficiaries of Trump's 2017 tax cut, the 83% figure is, what would happen if the tax laws stay the same as they were in 2017 to when they expire in 2027. So that's the other thing. And actually, it'll just get worse if the law stays the same. It'll get worse because the rich people all get to keep their tax cuts, but any tax cuts enjoyed by people who don't or have more modest means, those all expire. So
us poor people.
The poor people. That's you and me, and I would gather 98% of our listeners too. So there's that. As far as the economic growth, he did mention that, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, that a majority of forecasters have significantly increased their projections. They're projecting now that they will exceed 6% growth in GDP. That's very strong growth, much stronger than we had in any year under Donald Trump. And it is true that many economists have upgraded their 2021 gross domestic product forecast to north of 6%. either before or right after the legislation passed. But it's hard to say whether a majority did without, a survey of all economists. So again, if we're talking about right to the letter, I don't know that there's been, a formal survey or anything. And I'm an academic, so I look for stuff like this, and I'm not finding it. But in general, I mean, those are the actual content exceptions that I take with anything that Joe Biden said. Well, he did say also that there was a lot of Republican support. He said he said that even if McConnell, he was dismissing criticism from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and he said that he has support of Republican voters, not Republican politicians. He said that even if as McConnell says, the last thing I did, this last piece of legislation is so far left, well, then he ought to take a look at his party. Over 50% of them must be over that edge as well because they support what I did. That was kind of what Biden said. Maybe over 50%, but it's really kind of hard to quantify. Definitely, yes, definitely over a significant percentage of Republicans supported that American Rescue Plan, according to most polls, but that was more than 50% of Americans. A significant portion of Republicans, but not over 50%, I don't think, unless he saw something that I didn't see, but I've looked at some of these polls. One last thing, children on the border. Biden claimed that nothing had changed from the Trump administration. He said there'd been a 28% increase in children on the border under my administration versus a 31% increase in the same period in 2019 under Trump. And that is true. There was a 28%. The surge now accounts for about 28% of an increase over last year. And Trump's increase was greater. It was 31%. Not a lot greater, but somewhat greater. Yeah. But it's of migrants, not of children. Again, the Trump administration didn't measure children. Maybe because maybe they had reason to not want to do that, but they didn't measure children, so we don't have the statistics on children. But if we compare immigrants to immigrants, that's correct. So what that amounts to is basically this is a seasonal thing. This is not because Joe Biden is seen as soft on immigrants or anything, at least from the standpoint of those desperate people in Nicaragua and other Latin American countries that are extreming such duress that they would cross thousands of miles of hostile territory through Mexico to get to the United States just to plead to please come here. And so what we're not doing is putting them in cages. However, if they're kids, we're not putting them in cages. We're letting them come in, and we're putting them in facilities that aren't really what we should be, but I hope we're taking care of that at some point. But they're not admitting very many migrants as refugees, which is, I think they should change. But the fact is they haven't changed. So, I could launch my criticism a little bit from the left of Joe Biden. Hey, these people, they need help. They need help, and we are, we're a rich, bountiful country. And yes, we don't have unlimited resources, but we can handle this. So that's okay. So there, Lola.
Yes, Butch.
Yeah. Did any of those things that I ranted about resonate with you, or is there anything in there that you agree, disagree, want to pipe in on?
Well, when it comes to the planning for what's going on at the border, I would have thought, because I did, once he was elected, I thought, this is going to, there are more people going to try and get here. And I don't think the administration handled it well initially.
The Biden administration.
Right.
Right.
They should have had some kind of a plan in place, anticipating this, because I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Particularly the people down in Texas.
Yeah.
They knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And so, I get it.
Yeah.
But what we need down, aside from the basic necessities that these kids have to have, and that's a roof over their heads, medical treatment, a bed to sleep in with real blankets, not tinfoil.
Right.
We need more legal advice, or that's not the way. We need more people to process these claims. That has been.
We need judges. We need advocates.
More immigration courts.
Yes.
And they need to be there, not spread out across the country.
Yeah, that's true.
But one of the stories I've heard, and believe me, I don't. You get an influx of all of this, and so that's why Sunday mornings are very dangerous to watch. Somebody said, yes, there are children that are being sent across the border alone. It's not, though, that they made the trip alone, but grandma's there. Grandma made it, and the choice is, okay, grandma, we're not letting families in, so you take your grandchild and you go back. Or you send them on their own by themselves.
Right.
And that's kind of what's happening. But one of the stories that and now again, this is my heartstrings getting tugged. I think it was 2 or 3 kids in a family watched their mother be murdered on this trip up.
Oh, no.
And it just...
And they made it to the border anyway.
Yeah, they made it to the border because other older children, start watching out for them.
Right.
It fries me when people say, "Well, we shouldn't let them in." Well, you couldn't walk a mile in these kids' shoes, let alone 600.
Yeah. It's just incredible.
And today on CBS's morning show, they did a story about immigrants that have come over here in the past. And really, 98% of the people that showed up at Ellis Island were allowed in. But they had to have money. They had to have somewhere to go. It wasn't that they just showed up and had nothing. But how welcoming our country was to all these people. And yet, one of the things that was said was, well, that's because most of the people coming, particularly through Ellis Island and Philadelphia, that's where my grandma came in, was Philadelphia. They were white.
Right.
And I guess there was a law passed in 1880-something that really tried to limit the Chinese that were coming into San Francisco. But who built our railroads?
Exactly.
The Chinese built our railroads.
Yes.
The Mexicans and the South Americans that come up pick your food.
Exactly.
You would not have food in the grocery if these people weren't working.
Yep, that's exactly right. It's incredible. And, this is the whole phenomena of othering people. It's just a mass of, faceless brown-skinned people out there, or whatever the stereotype is, we don't think about those individual traumas that each of these people are facing. They would not have crossed over this dangerous, horrible, desert landscape to a possibly hostile environment if it wasn't really necessary. It's not that they are not dying just to come up here and take your job in the shoe store or whatever.
Welfare money.
The welfare money. Yeah, that's not it. These people, they want to come and work, generally speaking. So that's it. So this has been Butch Maxwell's incredible waste of 1 hour. With you, I've enjoyed it though.
Therapy.
It was good for me too. I'm ready to smoke one if I still do, but I don't smoke them anymore. So So you can smoke one for me. I'll be back whenever the watchdog calls me. I'm Butch Maxwell. You're here with Lola Miller. Big Rick will be back on Monday, and all things are good. Take care of yourself and other people, and get your vaccination, please.
Think of the tender things that we were working on. Slow